Poetic peeps and gentle persons, in-betweeners and nonconformers, genders all and genders equal. It's time to stand up and bear our pride. This is Eat the Storms, a poetry podcast and our annual Pride Poetry Party. My name is Damien B Donnelly. I get to be your host and producer, and thank you to you, the listeners, for tuning in, for joining us today, tomorrow, yesterday, or whenever it is you've tuned in on your preferred podcast platform. And that can be Spotify, Apple, Breaker, Podbean, Player FM, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Castbox, Podcast Addicts, iTunes, Amazon Music, or even YouTube. Since 2020, every year we have celebrated Pride the same way, by sharing poetry, by connecting creativity, continence, community, and most of all, celebrating our uniqueness, our individuality, our resilience, our adversity, and all-round awesomeness. So whether you are lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersexual, asexual, all of the above, none of the above, gender fluid, or just fabulously flexible, you have the right to be you, to celebrate you, and we are here to watch you shine. Today on the podcast, we have some of the most fabulous and our most favourite poets joining us from here in Ireland, from the United Kingdom and the United States. All that's required of you is to sit back into something cosy while wearing something sleek, sexy or slinky. Ensure there's something cheeky in a glass and something equally delicious on the plate to keep you satisfied while the poetry erupts. My name is Damien B Donnelly. This is Eat the Storms, a poetry podcast celebrating Pride Month, and I hope you enjoy the show. And we are jumping in with one of our most popular returning guests, the one who likes peculiar things and the scent of ice cream freezers. And at that, you should know exactly who I'm talking about. She is the magnificent author of Magnifying Glass, which was her debut collection, and most recently, Welcome to the Museum of a Life. And last year, she joined me on the podcast for Behind the Storms to talk about putting that collection together. She's had poems in magazines and journals published around the world, including the Storms Journal, and she's been featured on I Am, 1,000 Shades of Green, and today, thankfully, she's back with us. This is the always sensational Sue Finch.
Hello Damien, I'm delighted to read for this Pride episode of Eat the Storms. I've brought along two poems, and the first one is a list poem of mine, and it was the poem that was the inspiration for my second collection. It's called Museum of a Life. Exhibit A. The bath, where she was made to wash by her first lover. Exhibit B. The shower, where she was lime-soaped by her second. Exhibit C. An unwritten postcard from Herm, where she floated in the bay laughing with her third. Exhibit D. Dinner plate of sliced tomatoes, kaleidoscoped with red onion rounds, drizzled in olive oil. Photo, France. Exhibit E. White bread roll, origin, Las Vegas. Exhibit F. Barcelona street map, displayed here in the front pocket of the rucksack she wore against her breasts to minimise the risk from pickpockets. Exhibit G to I. The green carnation, the dropped pound coin, and the fucking hostile badge from the blind date with the woman who went on to become her wife. Exhibit J. The stars she couldn't believe she saw when she tipped the bucket chair back so much she fell and hit her head. Exhibit K. The missed beat from the intro to the first dance at her wedding. Exhibit L. 60-watt light bulb, previously inserted into her mouth while she pretended to be a lamp on a car journey back from Whitstable. Exhibit M. The orgasm she had while watching Wendy James from the edge of the stage, Hammersmith Odeon, 1989. Exhibit N. Yellow sailing trousers and blue t-shirt from the Saturday night disco at Manchester Pride, year unrecorded. Exhibit O. The kitchen counter she leant on to tell her mum she was gay. Exhibit P. Her mum, who already knew, who had done for years, and wondered why she hadn't said it herself sooner. Exhibit Q, snakebite and black, from the bottom of her boots the night she danced with Chris's girlfriend. Exhibit R, 2 Dolly Parton backstage passes and associated meet and greet photos. Exhibit S, a jar of Smurfs. Exhibit T, Ronnie, cuddly toy and photogenic alter ego, purchased Chester Zoo, 2002. Exhibit U to V, black velvet smoking jacket and size 10 jeans. Exhibit W to Z, this space is reserved for future exhibits. The next poem's called My Hybrid Heart. I put my fist slightly off-centre on my chest, draw round it with red marker pen, make a Valentine's heart. It needs to be bolder. I outline it again with black. I recall the pages of my old Grey's Anatomy, add in a fat aorta, ventricles, atria, forget where the vena cava goes. I leave it out. I press lightly to feather in the valves, laugh when they look like ghosts. If I still had the book, I'd check what I'd missed, but I'm happy with the hybrid I've created. Once I had an echocardiogram. Its peaks perfect, despite the fact it felt as if you'd tied rough brown string round my heart and pulled it tight. Connected to that machine, I tried not to think of you, didn't want to feel adrenaline daring me to breathe fast. What would you say if you could see me now? Call me crazy? Ask me if I had nothing better to do? I look in the mirror, meet the lines around my eyes with a flirtatious smile. This could be my first tattoo. Thank you.
And now we are making a leap from the United Kingdom to the United States of America to settle down in Oregon for yet another returning guest to the podcast who's been here on multiple occasions, and they've invited me also to take part in their own video series, Sunday Sweet Chats. They are the author of The God of Loneliness, which was published by Rebel Satori Press, If the World Were a Quilt from Kelsey Books, and Read My Lips from David Robert Books, as well as several chapbooks that you've heard over the years here on the podcast. Here today to take part in our annual Pride Poetry podcast, It Wouldn't Be a Party Without Charles K. Carter.
Hello, my name is Charles K. Carter, and I'm so glad to be back on the Eat the Storms Poetry podcast. I'm going to read a few short poems today. The first one I'm going to read was originally published in Bear Paw Arts Journal. It is called Sparklers. My senile grandpa is dancing in his bathrobe in the front yard, 3 lit sparklers in each hand. A stray spark makes the dry prairie grass glow orange and begin to smoke. I roll my eyes and stamp it out with my sandal, feeling the heat through the thinning rubber sole. I take him by the elbow and lead him back inside to safety. Come on, Gramps, I say. It's safer for us to smolder indoors. Sometimes it is safer for us to smolder indoors. Sometimes, though, there is sweet freedom in breaking free. And that's what the remaining poems I'm going to read are kind of about today. And the next one was originally published in Fevers of the Mind. It is called Revamp. And it begins with an epigraph by an awesome queer poet named Ari Lore. And the epigraph starts, quote, "Have you heard the sound of a dead boy singing beneath the dirt?" End quote. They always told us we would go to hell, so we created an underground nightclub and called it Flamers. We get down to the throbbing pulse, remixed from all those angry, straight feet stomping around up there in Crocs and starched white socks. Below these monumental mausoleums, we gay vampires grind to the beat of the city, idolizing our own Madonna. Dressing in drag, or leather, or pleather, sipping beer or cocktails or water or whatever we please, giving each other the forever kiss again and again. We will never stop dancing. We will never stop dancing. We will always sing our songs of joy. On apologies. I used to apologize for smoking cigarettes when I smoked. I apologize for not consuming meat when offered at a work soiree. I apologize for being gay when correcting someone's assumptions about what's between my partner's legs. I apologize to my husband for desiring sex as if it were something to feel shameful about. I shrink in a theater seat to avoid taking up too much space. I smile at strangers and then hold my breath as I walk past them on the street. But I won't apologize for these poems. The last one I'm going to read today was also originally published in Fevers of the Mind, and it has a theme of resilience. And that is something we all have birthed into our bones. It is part of our nature. So this is aptly titled Resilience. After a winter storm, one of our lilac bushes, weighed down by ice, bent to kiss the frosty ground. We thought she was dead, but the next day, when the clouds cleared and the sun shined bright, that beautiful bush stood tall, reclaiming this sweet life. If you want to know more about me and my work, please consider following me on Instagram at CKC Poetry or visiting my website at www.ckcpoetry.com. I hope you have a great Pride Month. Remember, you are the only you that has ever existed and ever will exist, and that makes you so special. So please take care of yourself. Be safe. Let your light shine. Happy Pride.
And for my next guest, we are island hopping again, and from the large island that is the United States of America to the slightly smaller one that is Ireland, we are settling down in County Waterford for my next guest, who is a writer and teacher who lives in Tramore with her wife and 2 children. She has been widely published in journals including The Wax Lemon and Impossible Archetypes, and more about them later, and her own Storms journal last year when she shared her poem for our special Dublin issue. The poem was called Date Night, and the moment I read it, I knew it had to be a part of the journal. I am so delighted to welcome her back today to the podcast for this special Pride Poetry Party. Please enjoy the very fantastic company of Elaine Westnott-O'Brien.
Dare to love. That's my advice. Don't think twice about the sneering majority. Make happiness your priority. You have the authority to give your life superiority over those that judge and hate. Don't let them keep that gate. Dare to love. Life seems long when you're young, a symphony, an opera, but you soon realise it's just one song. Don't leave it unsung. Don't leave one drop unwrung. Taste each flavour on your tongue. Give air to your lungs. Dare to love in all the colours of the rainbow. Don't be the first to let go. Be the one in day-glow voguing at the disco. Let the others' lives be so-so while they tut-tut and they no-no. You have to be in your flow. Go high when they go low-low. Dare to love, that's my advice. Being nice gets you everywhere. Splice your joy with your spice. There may be sacrifice when you roll that dice, but all you're really choosing is to excise the doubt from your life. So say goodbye to people who are half-price, Fisher-price versions of friends. Transcend to the real. Feel all your feels. Rise above and dare to love.
And now, to keep the party going, we're jumping across yet another stretch of water once more, this time from Ireland to the United Kingdom, and we're landing in London for another very special returning guest here to Eat the Storms, who's been with us multiple times since he graduated from the University of Roehampton with a degree in drama, theatre and performance studies. Currently, he has 3 writing projects that are out there online at the moment: Beauty Within the Cracks and Art is My Superpower, which you've heard here on the podcast, and Burning Flame. His 4th writing project, Stepping Out Stronger, will be released on the 25th of July, and he'll be launching that on the 27th of July at the LGBTQ+ Community Centre for the projects. Always keeping it proud, he is also the host for an open mic event at the LGBTQ+ Community Centre called Queer Open Mic, which runs on the last Saturday of every month from 5:30 to 7:30. But today, he is here with us, stepping out even stronger. Let's go from the Y to the M with MANNY.
Hi everyone, I'm MANNY. I'm a performer and writer from London. First, I want to say a huge thank you to Damien for having me on again. It's been a little while since I've been on Eat the Storms Poetry Podcast, but it's good to be back, so thank you so much. Happy Pride Month, everyone. I hope everyone's having a lovely Pride Month so far. So just a bit about me before I make a start. So I have 3 writing projects out on my website at the moment, and my 4th writing project, Stepping Out Stronger, will be out on the 25th of July. This has a mix of monologues, poems, stories, and spoken word rap pieces, but they all flow into each other really well. I'm doing a launch for Stepping Out Stronger on the 27th of July. This is my first ever launch, which I'm super excited about, at the LGBTQ+ Community Centre, which is near Tate Modern and Blackfriars Station, and it's going to be a show. I have a few singles on all streaming platforms, so you can find me just at MANNY. So I'm a spoken word artist who likes to fuse it with acting, music, movements/dance. And finally, I host an open mic event at the LGBTQ+ Community Centre called Queer Open Mic, and we're on every final Saturday of the month. So today I'll be doing 2 pieces from Stepping Out Stronger, so I hope you all enjoy. The first piece I'm going to do for you today is called It's Okay to Cry. This is the second promotional piece from Stepping Out Stronger. This is a powerful, beautiful and uplifting poem that I wanted to write and talk about for a while. Also, since it was Mental Health Awareness Month last month, it made sense to drop this one next. So I hope you enjoy this piece. It's okay to cry. It's okay to cry when you're going through a lot. When it gets too much on the inside and the weight of the world is so heavy on our shoulders. Let it flow. Let it all go. Let it pour out. Just let it flow. Tears that fall like gentle rain when you're in pain. When the heart aches and a river of emotion streams down the sides of our face. Let them dance so gracefully as they hit the ground. It's okay to cry also when you are happy. Celebrate all those achievements. You deserve good things. Yes, you deserve it. Tiny drops of water coming from your eyes as you smile. I'm so proud of you. Let it flow. Let it all go. Let it pour out. Just let it flow. I've been told I shouldn't share how I'm feeling. It'll make you look weak. Just hide it away. Don't cry. You're not a real man if you do. Just stand up high. Forget about it. You'll be just fine. Just lock it up and don't let it show. But I say to everyone, show them that you can let go of your storm. Embrace your vulnerable feelings. There's so much power and beauty in that. If eyes did not shed tears, a soul would never notice a glistening rainbow. So when you feel like you can't bear, remember the moments. You're not alone there. From joy to sadness, it's all part of life. Each tear tells its own story, a warrior's strife. Let's lift each other up in this grand parade, breaking those chains society's mould. With every drop, watch it shine like a sparkling waterfall's might. Let it flow, let it all go, let it pour out, just let it flow. It's okay to cry. It's okay to cry. Let me repeat that again. It's okay to cry. Thank you so much. The second and final piece I'll be doing for you today is called Living It Up. This is the second official piece from Stepping Out Stronger. This is the first spoken word rap piece from the project. It's all about living your best life. There's a few references, wordplay and bars throughout. So let me know what references you get and also what your favourite wordplay / bar is. I hope you enjoy this piece. Living it up. I'm living it up. Living it up. Living my best life. I'm living my best life. Living it up and don't give it up. Living our best life. We're living our best life. I'm feeling fierce as I enter, standing tall in the center, celebrating down my lane, casting around like Mario on Rainbow Road, finding power-ups, dodging obstacles with ease. The warm sunshine guides my path to success and peace. Mistakes? I own them. Haters? I've outgrown them. There's a whole lot in me, as you can see. Spread out my wings? Yeah, I'm feeling so free. My creative mind, a canvas so wide. Painting masterpieces as my story unfolds. Time to shine. To let my talents be known while I'm living life at its highest tone. Tropical breeze as I bop through. Yeah, this feels so cool. I'm on fire, baby. Yeah, you can call me Ignite. Been through some down days, now you'll see my might. While I'm living it up. Living it up. Living my best life. I'm living my best life. Living it up. And don't give it up, no. Living our best life. We're living our best life. It's M to the Y, and I'm bringing the flames. Now people are knowing my name. My face card is making you feel some sort of way. You can just soak this all up. While I'm leveling up and in my zone. Bad energy, please leave me alone. I'm like darts in the dark, flowing at fast speed like Sonic. People can't see the strike. Good energy and good vibes, that's what I like. I'm chasing my goals with determination indeed. Stacking wins like Tetris while I'm collecting my golden rings. I'm enjoying this special wave and I'm keeping it real. No need to pretend. Despite the flow of man, yeah, I'm back again. While I push my pen, time for you to give people their tens. Time for me to show you what I can do and speak my truth. Bar so fire, they're lighting up the booth. Find me catching the vibes, flipping the script. While I'm on my Nintendo Switch. Joy-Con in my grip. I'm on that grind. Seeking out Pokemon. Gotta catch 'em all. It's time. While I'm living it up. Living it up. Living my best life. I'm living my best life. Living it up. And don't give it up. No. Living our best life. We're living our best life. If people want to bring you bad vibes, tell them bye-bye. Tell them bye-bye. Even though they might be cute, handsome, beautiful, and so sexy, still, tell them bye-bye. Tell them bye-bye. If they want to gas up your space, well, that is a waste of our time. Tell them bye-bye. tell them bye-bye. Bye, 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 bye. While I'm living it up, living my best life. I'm living my best life. Living it up and don't give it up, no. Living our best life. We're living our best life. Thank you so much. I hope everyone enjoyed both of my pieces today. So you can find both of those on my website, under Stepping Out Stronger. You will be able to find those two. And I also have another 2 pieces, Only Human and Body Talks with Jack Norman. So 4 pieces out from the project at the moment. So yeah, please go and enjoy all 4 of them. You can also find me on Instagram at MANNY_Harmony11. You'll find in my Instagram bio links to my website, tickets of the launch of Stepping Out Stronger, the open mic event, and more. So yeah, please go check that out. And the open mic's Instagram is a queer open mic in London. So please follow along with the journey. You can find me on all streaming platforms, like I said earlier on, I'm just at MANNY. And you'll find singles like Unwanted Noise, The Cold Air Crept In, Rise, and Island Wine. So yeah, I just want to say a huge thank you to Damien for having me again. It means so much. And I hope everyone has a lovely rest of their Pride Month.
And now for our next guest, we are heading back to the United States, so I hope you've all bought your passports with you today and are collecting as many air miles as possible. Are they still doing air miles? I can't quite remember. It's been so long since I've flown any great distance. Now, this time we are being joined by the inaugural Poet Laureate of Ellensburg, who is a Pushcart Prize nominee and has had poetry appearing in places like Poetry Ireland Review, Crannog Magazine, the Catamaran Literary Reader and California Quarterly. She is the author of Gifts to the Attentive and the forthcoming Mostly Sweet, Lovely Human Things. She is another beloved returning guest here on the podcast and is a graduate from the Naropa University and the Lilf School of Technology, where she studied psychology, religion and peacemaking. Joining us today from Washington with her 2 rescued pinmins, Benny and June, I'm overjoyed to welcome back to Eat the Storms the mighty Mary Marchard.
Dinner party in Boston. Wave remnants lap the edges of my memory. It was 30 years ago when we kissed in the ocean house on stilts. The Atlantic's wintry breaker spanked the salted wood beneath our feet like a metronome. Surrounded by water, yet haunted by thirst, I kissed you in the hallway, and your cheeks turned to pure fire, pomegranate red, the juicy tide of your body rising. Cool mist from the surf seeped in through the old home's joints, dampening the flames. We resumed mingling, talking small, knowing that soon we would fall into each other's ocean and be quenched. Supernova. When my love for the world becomes too much, it explodes into panic attacks that get filed away for very inconvenient times, and I spend hours searching for something to alchemize all that energy. I've started to imagine my heartbreaks as shooting stars, the meteor's flaming paths absorbed by vacuous night. How satisfying to see my woes devoured by the gargantuan universe. It's so reparative, isn't it? Feeling small. There's something faultless and holy about standing in the midnight of your mind, witnessing new stars being born. When we are loved enough, then peace comes. I whisper improvised poems along your drought-riddled skin. You lay in the quiet, thirsty for any drip of kindness left in words. You have longed for such tenderness to return to quench you at dusk. You miss your mother's lullabies, how her exhalations mingled with prayers like sunlight on a river. The world threw its cloak over your ears. Almost forgotten is the honeyed flow, the rhythm and timbre of words when spoken with love. The echo is not completely lost. There remains a vibratory presence that pervades your cells with enfoldments of belonging. You drink from the cusp of language under the tent of my breath, and it all comes back. This feeling loved, and you remember enough to heal. The heart's colossal sea. The human heart is 73% water, the earth's surface, roughly that. If all my past loves were tributaries leading to the heart's colossal sea, how long before I'd drown? Or would I surf their waves to shore, keeping at least one good thing from each of them to buoy me? Genetics of resilience. I begin by contemplating my mother's ashes beneath the blossoming camellia. I regret not casting her remains to the wind. She would have been more free. As it is, she is trapped in the wormy soil, suffocating still. Do the flowers and I share a lineage? This intermingling must mean we're sisters now. See how we reach toward the light, pink-petaled faces shining despite.
We are now coming back to Ireland as we reach the midway point of today's special episode celebrating Pride Month, and we have 2 stops in Ireland this time, so you can unpack your bags for a while as we settle down. Firstly in Carlow for the man who I think is unofficially the official poet of Carlow, even if today he's slightly cheating on Carlow by reading a poem which is set in Naas, which is in County Kildare and not County Carlow. His collection, Reading John Ashbery and Costa Coffee Carlow, was shortlisted for the Shine Strong 2020 award and was followed up with Sipping Martinis under Mount Leinster, which was a dual language collection from Transnet, Sweden. His work has been featured in places like Skylight 47, The Stinging Fly, The Irish Pages, The Irish Times, The Honest Ulsterman and The Stony Thursday Book, and he's also written essays on the poetry of Seamus Heaney, John Montague and Paula Meehan. Normally lecturing in Carlow College, St. Patrick's today, I am so happy to welcome back here for our special Pride episode, Derek Coyle.
And greetings to you all from Carlow here in the sunny southeast. Derek Coyle, poet in Carlow Town, who normally reads Carlow poems for you, but actually, for a change this year, I'm going to bring you to my final year after school, just finished. And I'm working in a part-time job just outside Naas, hoping to head to Maynooth University later on in the year. And this is a poem called Outside Naas. I've met you again and again in my dreams. That summer we worked together, stripped to our waists, the August heat. Row after row after row, broccoli and cabbage ripe for the harvesting, your father's tilled fields. That summer we'd finished school, university, a dream for October. How rich with possibility those moments seemed, at least to the life of the mind, the silent movie of the imagination. I remember your grey shorts. We'd stand and kiss, and I'd nuzzle your neck like an inquisitive steed Anyway, that's our offering here from Carlow in the southeast, bringing us to Naas, closer to the Midlands. But anyway, hope you're all having a beautiful Pride, and onwards and forwards despite everything. Take care.
And for my next Ireland-based guest, we are coming closer to me and settling down here in Dublin for a regular voice here on the podcast, and another voice who joined me for one of our Behind the Storms conversations last year, when we sat down to talk about being gay, writing about sex, feeling naked, and putting together one of the most fantastic LGBTQ plus journals, Impossible Archetype. Its editor-in-chief is the author of the collection Nightlight, which was published by Salmon Poetry in 2023, along with 5 chapbooks including Fault Lines and I Was a Teenage Exorcist. He is a 3-time Arts Council of Ireland awardee, with poems appearing in places like Queering the Green, Post 2000 Queer Irish Poetry, and his poem Romantic Landscape was displayed in a park in Cork as part of the Poetry in the Park series last March. His new ekphrastic chapbook is coming out soon with Emma Press called Masters, and a second full collection, Real Estate, will be published next year by Salmon Poetry. And next month, as part of the West Cork Literary Festival, he will be joining myself, Liz Quirk and Chloe Michelle Howard to talk about Out on the Page, a celebration of queer literature, in a panel discussion for the Irish Writers' Centre. But now it's time to hear from the bloody brilliant Mark Ward.
Hi, my name is Mark Ward. Happy Pride, everybody. I'm here with a long, gay Dublin poem for you. It's prefaced with a quote from my good friend Eric Norris, and the quote is, "You can do anything with art, they say." This is Alive, Alive, a Dublin fairy tale. In the beginning, Jack didn't want to get his head kicked in down his local, so he found those not quite gay bars, Bartley Duns, Rice's, and shook himself into them, one hand on his coat. Here was the blind eye he looked for, a deniability. See how fast you could run through the green and fall into night's indifference. A calm stroll. One more invisible night in Hogan's instead of hard glances and soft-spoken men. How could he spend his life without this? He drank until these feelings weren't amiss, until he was all nerve and confidence, and all the men danced too close all at once. A trolley dolly here just for the night. The fearless Bricky looking for a snog, a TD, everyone had guessed him right, nursing his Guinness, staring at the floor. Jack pursued the men who wouldn't love him, oblivious. Any more is too much. To have a man want him in the morning, to hear the phone and hope he's calling. They killed another man out in the park. It was barely reported. No one cares if a steamer gets a kicking. What a lark, eh? Another anonymous culty with a family who doesn't grieve him. Jack's happier with his state of affairs. Predictably, a man disrupts Jack's plan. About his age and everything he dreamed when he let himself just after he turned out the light to sleep. This challenging man who wouldn't let him get away with his MO, who refused to go home with him until they had dinner. And he knew how this would go. Confident. That kiss. Jack had spent the whole week thinking of him. The world's small compared to those few hours spent with him. One kiss realigning everything. The no time it took for him to undo the fear. It's easier when you've something worth risking. He waited for him to call, which he did the next day. They went for dinner, and then each other. Naked so quickly, Jack's flat stinking of sex for weeks. His grin at the smell, the world he now knows, the way he pulled him close and Jack relaxed, as if for the first time, a knot in him undone. He found something that changed him, now as necessary as a limb. The feeling mutual. They meet after work. Rice's. The other men watch them rest on each other. Look how fast an arm slung around him becomes love. Each day easier with someone at the end of it. I'm blessed, Jack beamed, unpacking his life in their flat. Both enjoyed the extracurricular, often together. He encouraged Jack to experience the world beyond him, knowing how strong they'd be if he chose each day to come home to him, build a life in the basement flat in Rathmines, and then their little house by the canal. Nights dancing in the George, walking Dame Street holding hands, refusing the urge to see if they are being watched. You can't live your life like that, they said to each other at once, and laughed. The TD got hopped on one night, leaving flickers. He survived. Outed, but life goes on, Jack told him. It's a habit worth keeping. They heard about friends of friends getting sick, and then their friends, so they weren't surprised when the doctor gently told them the news. The tabloids warned with a nasty glee exactly how it spread. They started to look over their shoulder when going home. Jack's mother stopped calling. The world shrunk to just the two of them staring it all down. Jack watched his man weaken. A hacking cough that wouldn't shift, an inability to get warm. A future any dawn might bring him. The TV anchor's name-calling, a generation absorbing those words, but then, one morning, there was a breakthrough. The TD used what power he possessed to embarrass the government into doing something. The papers tried to shame him, but he was brazen, unflappable, every favour called in. And no one died. Everyone was looked after, everyone survived, everyone got to become old and boring, watch their life's accomplishments accrete before them, how they affected the world. And they started to get stronger. No one was sick anymore. They all lived full lives, not the ghosts we were forced to mourn. Jack and his man drinking with friends, grateful for a life together, each day alive.
And now it's time for me to be a guest poet instead of the host introducing the poets, and I'm going to read 3 poems for you. And the first of which is a poem that I wrote last year when I was staying at the Tyrone Guthrie Centre in County Monaghan, the fantastic creative artist retreat there. I was staying in one of the cottages, and at night time I would light a candle, and there was this beautiful red bowl of a lamp that was sitting on the table, and the candle was reflected in it, and every night it triggered in me a memory of something else red that I had seen at various times throughout my life. So this is called When All I Think About When I See the Red Lamp. A pointless porcelain single stiletto in scarlet, too big for a doll, too small to be anything substantial, a rouged birthday present from me to you, when you were 45 and I hadn't learned the importance of being anything. Speaking of birthdays, the blushed velvet hat you wore on your 40th over a grey dress I only remember because there's a photograph of it somewhere in a sealed album that keeps the things we've lost bound together in one place. The vermilion paint I splashed across my poor bedroom walls at 17, when magazine cutouts no longer cushioned the cracks already forming from the little earthquakes far from tectonic plates that no one else noticed. The red velvet waistcoat your fingers caressed in Dublin, on the stairs of the George and the poppered stench of the block in the 90s. Me finding my way in the day before the noose that took you all the way out. The small red briefs you turned me onto in the north of Amsterdam, on the far side of Het Ei, on the safe side of a mosquito net you thought would keep you safe from all the things that wanted to bite. Carmine carpet, in the bedroom of the green windmill in Paris. Second time around where he told me of the scorched burgundy stones of his hometown, my tongue tracing a heart inked below his shoulder, tasting of me, you, and all the things I still hadn't learned how to be. So for my second poem, I've decided to read a poem about swimming pools, which later on you will realise why I'm reading poems about swimming pools, because it's for a person who's on the podcast who collects poems about swimming pools. This one is called Illusion Swims Over an Empty Pool. This poem is set in South Korea on the island of Jeonju, where we arrived at a deserted fun fair that had an empty swimming pool in it. And at the time I was with my partner who was trying to figure out if the move from the name Eric to Alice would suitably fit their journey of moving from man to trans woman. There are a few French words in it, which are piscine, which means, of course, swimming pool, sans l'eau, without water, sans rêve, without a dream or beyond the dream, and on ferme les yeux, and we close our eyes. Illusion swims over an empty pool. Feet swing above a blue tiled wall of a piscine sans l'eau, as if the world has cried up all the water on the planet. I rest my head on your shoulder and you lean in to my support, as if we were both armbands for each other. Somewhere behind a day I made into a memory in my mind, you fake swim in that pool of dried tile, cracked sunshine, and our laughter reverberates between the strain at the bottom and the gulls flying overhead in circling sways, in case we chose to be the bait for their beak. Behind us, a taxi rides away and we are left to decipher how life drowns in a place sans rêve. Feet swing above a blue tiled wall of a piscine sans l'eau, et on ferme les yeux, to lean in to that which isn't really there. And the final poem I'm going to read from you is the latest poem of mine that has been published. And I am very grateful that it was published by Alan Parry and his wonderful The Broken Spine Arts. This poem is part of the collection The Whiskey Tree. There have been 2 waves. I was part of the second wave with a fantastic, incredible, inspiring set of poets. And Alan pushed us as much as he could to force us to write beyond what we would normally write. This poem is part of the anthology Untamed Love. I decided to talk about sex instead of love. So, this is called Love, but first. Love doesn't have a scent. Not like sex. Love comes laundered, stainless at first, unremarkable, while sex is salt and vinegar, a drunken takeaway, salivating in its own sack. Sex is stained with beer, bravado, cunt, crack, back streets, basements, bedsits, a pungent prick, sharp-tongued gagging. I came upon love once. Black inked across his chest, but as it dried, crisped, cracked, it turned out to be lust, lulled by tannins redolent of end-of-day leather shoes, unfiltered gallowas licked from tip of tongue. Love is not a chain smoker, shoe sniffer, deep throater, love doesn't ride, rotate, rim. Love doesn't have an odour, aura. Love is not sex. Sex bears its musk like a pit. It perspires, permeates, penetrates, shoots in the face, over the feet, is acrid, not arid, not aired, not ironed. It's edgy, open, grips its thirst. Sex doesn't require a shower. Doesn't need to be washed off or watered down. Love isn't sex. I've worn sex for days, bathed in its essence, soiled in crude, woody, deep grass, earthy, eager. Sex finds last night's pants stuck in strange corners, struts home in early morning, rosebud fully opened. Love comes with stem snipped, prick of thorn on prep. Changes clothes for each entrance, arrives unexpected, sneaks up, scentless, senseless, bears no trace till it's moved in, cleaned up, dusted, douched. I don't know about love. Don't trust it. Sex is different. You smell it before you've entered the room, before the fondling, the fingering, that fucking. Sometimes you want to stink to know you're really living. Catch yourself really erect. Fuck pressed linens, Egyptian cottons, 500 thread counts. Leave me soggy, sultry, seek me out blindfolded. Start with you on the floor on all fours, edging, sniffing your way through shoe, short stench of skin, that sack, sweating, salivating. Later we love, lay in the afterglow, gooned out on pheromones, tongues in places we'll grow to despise later as we learn to love. But first, to begin untamed. Alright, it's now time to grab your bags because we are moving once more and shifting location over to the United Kingdom for a bold, inclusive writer and performance poet who blends unflinching honesty with raw humour to craft powerful, relatable stories. And if you've ever attended a Flight of the Dragonflies live Zoom event where I first met them, you'll know exactly what I mean. This month, as part of the Pride Month celebrations, they performed at the Discovery stage at the Pride Cymru, and their collab event, Hot Flush, has been sold out in Brighton, Stroud and Bristol, and they're coming to London very soon, so make sure you grab a ticket. But for now, it's always a pleasure to have them back in the podcast. This is Emma Clowsley.
I'm Emma Clowsley, and I'm excited to be part of the Eat the Storms, the Pride Party. I'm going to share 2 poems with you today. Hands off our bodies. Our bodies are beautiful. Our bodies are femme, masc, gender fluid. Our bodies are under our clothes, and only we choose who gets to see those. You can line us up in rows from one end of the spectrum to the other. We slide across it, over it, under it. We are not tied to the binary. We untie the knots, fling off convention, and bask in the glory of displaying our authenticity. Like a peacock in full fight mode, we still fight to protect each other. And the deeper we delve, the more we learn about ourselves. We stand by our trans siblings as they face the same discrimination, humiliation, and we try to amplify their voices with the noises we provide at events such as Pride. Now, it might sound like my words are laced with anger. I'm not angry. I'm just standing here in unity, speaking out for parts of my community, L with the T, pleading for equality at a time when it feels like it's slipping out of reach. I'm not here to teach you. You're already here, flags in hand, shouting trans rights are human rights, creating safe spaces and places where we can thrive, where more of us stand a chance to stay alive, and courage lives inside of you and me, and we can use that courage to speak out for everybody. So our bodies are our bodies. They're not up for debate. We march for the freedom of everybody. Everybody. Everybody has the right to be here. And the next poem is Pride Paddle. safety jackets fastened, pack of biscuits stowed away. We mounted soggy vessels on that grey and rainy day. I had regrets, but only one, a thicker shirt I could have worn, with cuffs that tuck over fingers to prevent skin from getting torn. Trying to find our balance, so easy was the distraction, as the photographer shouted, "Could we see the squirters in action?" Wow, we roared with laughter, some snorted and some sniggered. As the gals whipped out their pistols, some were clearly triggered. Adrenaline had rushed away, cold and wet we began to lag. The girl in front by half a mile stopped to have a fag. The butchers were ahead of me to keep up with the pace. I swung my paddle back and forth and whacked Howis in the face. So vigorous was the paddling, the skin ripped from my thumb, with water drenched in sewage soaked right through to my bum. When you're taking part in water sports, be sure to wear suitable attire. Or, like me, you'll find yourself airing out your knickers under the hand dryer.
My next guest is originally from Northern Ireland, from the Antrim coastline, but has lived for many years now in London. And when he joined me last year for Behind the Storms, our interview series, we spoke about writing poetry about these two places, England and Ireland, and also about his remarkable collection, Because We Could Not Dance at the Wedding, which was published by Warple Press in 2023, a book of queer love poems, which I first heard him read at the John Hewitt Festival 2 years ago. So a shout out to everyone who has taken part in the John Hewitt Festival just this week. Last year he followed that up with Orland the Sea, a portrait of the geology of the British coastline in poems and photographs, which was co-curated with artist Julie Cuthbert. With work appearing in places like Queering the Green, post-2000 queer Irish poetry, and Windfall, Irish nature poetry to inspire and connect, published by Hatchet Press. I am so happy to welcome back to Eat the Storms the man who collects swimming pool poems on his website. We take all sorts in the podcast. This is a wonderful Michael McKimm.
Hello everyone, and thank you Damien. It's lovely to be here to share some poems for the Pride Poetry Party. I'm going to open with a love poem called West of 40s. West of 40s, for Zach turning 40. A stormy night, and now the day begins as half a dream. I'm dreaming of a ship. My feet awake, toes tapping at your shin, and now your hip awakes upon my hip. Years ago, when I was troubled, sleeping, you'd say, imagine that the bed's a raft and we're two boys at sea. Just try keeping rhythm with the currents, and after a while you'll drift away off. In the dark, you'd reach across and flick the radio. Your arm would turn the raft into an arc. Love, today it is a ship of precious cargo. My half-dream tuning in to early forecast. West of 40s, moderate, becoming good. Topsail, rigging, rudder, crew songs, ballast. You're holding me against the bedroom's cool. I feel our clipper cutting through the sea. I think about those boys upon the raft. East of 40s, west of 40s. I think about the tides, the landing craft. I'm going to read a couple of poems from a sonnet sequence that's in my book, Because We Could Not Dance at the Wedding. The sequence is called To Go About, and it's a series of poems taking place from 2005 to 2014, and each poem is a year in that period, and it charts my relationship with my husband through the first part of our relationship. The first one I'll read is 2006, and this was when we travelled to London for our first gay pride. 2006. Boys in thongs and short shorts pass the barriers, throwing sweets and condoms and flirty looks and drinks vouchers. And then there's a guy in leather on a lead and emos with full sleeve tattoos. And now the crowd is lost beneath the flag. And after that march sailors, soldiers, police, a samba band, the feathered queens of drag, the King's Cross Steelers, Left Footers FC. We drink it in, wide-eyed, edgy, nervous, spectators only, a little lost at what to do behind the railing. Then, pumped up, agile, bravest, you tug my shirt and find a clear way through. We join the end, enjoy the summer sweat, walking hand in hand down Oxford Street. And the second one is set in 2011, which was the year that we had a civil partnership, and so it's based around planning for that. 2011. How often will we stomp the riverbank, timing it for our guests, hoping for sunshine, allowing a stop, of course, to admire the flanks of rowers cutting clean perpendicular lines. The weeks are tightening like a drum. The nerves, the suits, the fights, the food, the fuss. The email from the friend who wouldn't come but asked instead if he could pray for us. But out here, where the rustle of the reeds signals the barn, the whitewashed farmhouse, our huge, resilient chestnut tree, all that disappears like the towing path in darkness. Cows lolling on Christchurch meadow, the wings of willow, all the natural world just going with the flow. Thank you for listening, and big thank you to Damien, and happy Pride, everyone.
My next returning guest here to celebrate Pride with us on Eat the Storms is a poet, science fiction author and academic who's based here in Dublin, and their writing has been published in Ireland House, the Liminal Review, Zonder magazine and Poetry Ireland, to name but a few. Their debut short story collection, Possible Worlds and Other Stories, was published in 2022, and in 2023 their short story, The Sound, was longlisted for the BSFA Awards. My next fantastic guest has been with us here on the podcast and also as a contributor to the Storms Journal, and it's a joy to welcome them back today. This is Rachel Handley.
Hi everyone, I'm Rachel Handley. I am a poet, a science fiction author and an academic based in Dublin. I'm going to read 4 poems for you today. And those poems are part of a larger project that I'm working on that's all about my experience of being non-binary. The first poem is called Woman Adjacent, and it was originally published by Ireland House in 2023 in the wonderful Washing Windows anthology. Woman Adjacent. That makes sense, doesn't it? And not quite that shape. If I try her on, she fits me for a day, then slithers off like a weary skin. But not a him either, adjacent, not perpendicular. Everything between one shape, another shouting heartache when someone else is pressed over me, when an imposter breaks bones to tell me who I am. The next poem I'm going to read is Ribcage, and this was originally published by Impossible Archetype in 2024. Impossible Archetype are a wonderful LGBTQ online poetry journal, and you should all go look them up. You can read their issues for free. This is ribcage. First, you feel secrets in the chest, a kind of blood, a bright blooming, a strange kind of thicket ousting the ribcage. I could let them go. I am hungry enough. Prying open each opening, fingers twisting for a strange kind of switch. I wrestle the blood out of me, handfuls at a time, and you look at me exactly as if I had blood on my hands, as if I am guilty, denying myself a woman, while I congratulate my truth. No longer a sister, a them, they, the, and not usually her, and you'd look at me bright with red and turn quick to not have blood touch your skin. So this next poem is called They, and again, it was published by Arlen House in one of the Washing Windows anthologies in 2024. They. When I tell you who I am, you tell me that I am wrong, as if my born blood speaks words to you that it refuses me, as if my years, whispering only to you, filled me up pink and ready to be pressed into your shape. But blood is made in the mouth. My whole heart sang to get it there, to flush out the stones you grew. So this last poem is called Free, and this was again published by Impossible Archetype in 2025. This is Free. The pain in half my body sings to the skin of the other, while walking like this, one-armed, as if a kind of nature. I watch a woman hold her bag taut around her shoulder, knuckles white and crisp like bones, walking lopsided, though thinking in all directions. One arm still, a half body surprised early by its task of slung weight. Even when the bag is placed to the floor, the arm remains numb. As I walk, I shake myself free, an unraveling of an obedient skin. I see them, they, me, clutching old selves, one-armed, her right arm cocooned under a weight she can't notice. A man walks in front of me, his steps a known testimony. Arms swing proud with his feet on the ground, his body moving side from own side. I look at my arms, one swinging too quick to let him know that I too can walk free, clipping what hangs stitched straight as I align not with him, but with a full shout of the soul, a doubling of my heart. As release pours out, I look as I should have looked at her, him, at those same arms, and shake them free. Thank you very much for listening.
And for our penultimate guest today on the podcast here today, celebrating Pride Month, we have a proud gay Welsh poet from Cardiff. I think he has, in fact, read on almost every season of the podcast since its inaugural season way back in 2020, when my debut pamphlet, Eat the Storms, and his debut pamphlet, Spectrum of Flight, were stepping into the world. Spectrum of Flight was published by Animal Heart Press, and last year's follow-up, Dawn's Incision, was published by Iceflow Press. With work in numerous magazines and journals, including The Storms, Rust and Moth, and Barron magazine, there will always be a place on the podcast for the fantastic David Hanlon.
Hello everyone, my name is David Hanlon and I'm a poet from Cardiff in Wales. I'd like to say a big thank you to Damien for inviting me to feature once again on the Pride Poetry podcast this year. I'm going to start with a poem that was recently published in Sage Cigarettes, and it's called Outside My Inside. And it's for Chris. Inside, winter, rainy, frigid, drab. Outside a garden in springtime, sunlight drying any puddles, any osmosis of December sorrows. Crocuses, purple and white, spill, splatter generous over emerald banks. Thick oak trees stand tall and resolute, branches splayed into aliquotous arms. Shaded ferns staying evergreen, fronds delicate as late night touches, lake stilled by solicitous winds easing, a sustainment of mallards gliding on top. Wooden park benches built and carved to rest upon, take in the vistas of your devotion. For this is all you, all that you give me. Every day you march my spirit, my inside. You, soul tilting, soul spinning, superhuman season changer of my once wintered heart. This one's called His Love. Life daggers me, skin split, blood singing. His love watches, no hurry. Its hand finds the hilt, draws it out slow, threads the wound into a road. I walk barefoot toward a sealed jar, heavy with wanting, where his love, steady as rain, lifts the lid, and fireflies rise, filling my ribs with light. This one is called On Coming Out, and it was published recently in One Art. On coming out. Watch how I Anna's hummingbird in disclosing sunlight, my crown and throat, or magenta iridescence, from which I unburden, from which I sing. This one is called His Vessel. I feel it, every small gesture, hauling me from drowning waters, stilling my seasick breath, quieting my writhing mind, onto the soft anchored deck of his unshakable love. This one is called Resilience. They left me a kernel, small, stubborn. Watch me boil it to bursting, flood it with butter, crown myself in the gold of queerness.
And for our final guest on the podcast today, we are hovering between Brighton, Hove and the Isle of Man for a queer Manx poet, editor and performer and beloved returning guest here on Eat the Storms. His debut chapbook Throatbone was published by Uncollected Press in 2020, which was followed by Queerfella, which jointly won the Rialto Open Pamphlet competition also in 2020. And if you want to know why, I suggest you buy it because it is bloomin' brilliant. In 2023, The Poet's Isle of Sin and The Whole Island were published by Polari Press and Valley Press, which was followed by A Finger in Derek Jarman's Mouth, published by Polari Press in 2024. And if you think that's a lot, he's also had 2 3-poet anthologies published in between. I am delighted to say that his debut collection will be published by Outspoken Press in 2026, so make room on your bookshelves. But for now, what a way to end our Pride Poetry Party. It is always an honour to hand you over to the magnificent Simon Maddrell.
Hello, I'm Simon Maddrell and happy Pride. This poem, Kintsugi, is a concrete poem, which I know is a bit odd. For those that know what kintsugi is, you won't be surprised to know that it's shaped like a vase, or in fact, a head. Kintsugi. My therapist says uncovering our cracks is the aim of therapy, but I say that there is poetic about being laid out in pieces with, in between, except blood and stale air. I wonder how much heat it takes to melt gold and silver, and if it's worth it. And anyway, how do I remember what piece belongs where, what pieces are like a mending of cracks with silver and gold, leaves, highlights, imperfect imaginings of the lost, and how a mask can be hiding a or something else. I say a piece from outside won't work, and he says I've said that before, but I don't remember. I must have just been feeling and not thinking what could fill it and how much fire it would take to melt that much silver, enough to fill such a big, replace what is lost, and can it really be better than before? Just filled with silver, even gold pools. But I mean it when I say I'm glad it happened, and I don't care how it looks, because that would be missing the point of a poem. Its odd patches, golden matched, words that call to a whole. Those terms in therapy, like shame, may be washed away by secrets told, like a fixing of cracks only you know. A poet said to me that poetry is not therapy. So I asked, how do you know? And they told me to get a therapist, but I already have one. Speaking of which, according to my therapist, my ex replaced my mother, destined to put themselves first, to leave. But what's wrong with that, I say? They told me they loved me, but only one of them meant it. I ask about my unrequited love, who took 4 years to break up my delusions. That's your dad, he says. I knew he wasn't emotionally available, that he would forsake me when I told him my truth. Only one of them abandoned me, unless you count death, which is what happened to my hope. I'm reading a memorial plaque in memory of Reverend Frederick William Robinson, 1816 to 1853. The graces of his ripened manhood were in their highest exercise. Despite devotional abstinence from luscious food, drugs and sex, with thronging males of all classes. That is not to say that his proclivities match my own intimacies with men. Poetry is not to make us think accurately, but feel truly. Images in temporary arrhythmia, language that creates music bouncing off polished walnut. Thank you so much.
Poetic peeps and gentle persons, in-betweeners and non-conformers, genders all and genders equal. We've reached the end of this very special episode of Eat the Storms, a poetry podcast and our Pride Poetry Party. My name is Damien B Donnelly. I've been your host and producer, and I'd like to say a giant, huge, enormous, sparkling, multicoloured, rainbow-tipped thank you to all of my guests on today's show. And they have been Simon Maddrell, David Hanlon, Michael McKimm, Emma Clowsley, Mark Ward, Derek Coyle, Mary Marchard, MANNY, Elaine Westnott-O'Brien, Charles K. Carter and Sue Finch. Thank you to you, the listeners, for tuning in and to help us celebrate as part of Pride Month 2025. We get a whole month to sing, to scream, to shout, to shine, but of course every single day is a day to be proud, a day to celebrate ourselves, our skins, our reasons to love, our choices of lovers who keep us sane, and to share our voices along the way. And of course our charisma, uniqueness, talent and nerve. Thank you, Miss Paul. There are still, of course, tough times, tough days, tough decisions, tough rulings that come and then get pulled and rejected, and we bounce backwards. Here in Ireland, it is the 10th anniversary of the Marriage Equality Act, and if I look back to the Ireland I left, to the Dublin city that I deserted when I was 21, it is now a whole entirely different world, a whole entirely different island and different city that I've returned to. More open, more adjusted, and so much sassier. But it's not the same for everyone, in every county, in every city, in every country. And in part, that's the reason that we are here, to come together to share our voices so that one person's strength can give hope and a hold to the suppression that another has to deal with. When we come together to celebrate our diversity, our individuality, our simple right to choose our names, our pronouns, who we want to love, wouldn't it be lovely if at the same time, in all of those differences, we can see that we are all simple human beings hoping to be seen, to be heard, to be held, to be loved. And so here we are, reaching out on platforms like Spotify, Apple, Breaker, Podbean, Player FM, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Castbox, Podcast Addicts, iTunes, Amazon Music, YouTube. Reaching out as many hands as possible, crossing as many seas as we can, and connecting as many continents as possible. We are the community, whether we call ourselves lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersexual, asexual, all of the above, none of the above, gender fluid, heteronormative, or just human. My name is Damien B Donnelly. I am your gay host, and it has been an honour to welcome my guests and to welcome you to listen in to this special episode celebrating Pride Month 2025. Until next time, be good, be bright, be bold, be brave, be resilient, be brilliant, be beacons of light, and of course, as always, stay